Welcome to Your Studio Podcast, sharing strategies for studio owners. Chantelle Bruinsma and Michelle Hunter are co-CEOs of Studio Evolution, an online global community for studio owners who run dance, music, acting, visual arts, yoga, Pilates, even woodworking businesses. Over the last decade, they have transformed the lives of thousands of studio owners, helping them to create wildly successful and profitable studios, giving studio owners the life of their dreams. So welcome home, grab a cuppa, let's get started.
I was turning 10 this year. Like, that's huge.
That means we've been together for 9.5 years.
Is that crazy? You met him,
Yeah.
You met me when he was 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I had no idea what I was doing.
That's fine. That's why I needed you.
Oh my gosh, if I look back.
Nearly 10, it's next year. So next June or whatever is our 10-year anniversary.
It's our 10-year anniversary. Oh, that's like new beginning. Oh my goodness, 10 years together.
We should do something to celebrate that.
100% we're doing something. Yeah, we have to.
That's really special. We know we've talked about you and I just going away for a couple of nights, not to put on an event, but just you and I going away for a couple of nights. Maybe that's when we do it. It's our anniversary. So I'm going with my wife.
Oh,
sorry, husband.
That's so cool. Can you believe it?
No.
It's like we've grown up like a lifetime together as well. Like we had a whole evolution of like leadership, personal, because we had babies together.
I mean, you met me not as a mum.
No, and you guys just got married. Like I was looking at your wedding video, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like fresh up to your 1-year wedding anniversary. That's crazy. You still lived in Mascot.
I know, in Terminal 3.
Yes. That's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. A long time ago. I can't believe that.
Being friends, like buying houses, like moving into our dream houses. Like that's crazy even too to think about that. Like, do you remember?
Yeah, you knew me living in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment right near the airport.
Yeah, and then I lived
and not even having children.
And that house, like we lived in that smaller house, and we always dreamed of having a big house. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's come a long way, friend. I've just finished Meghan Sussex's.
It's Sussex.
Meghan Sussex.
Yeah.
Is her name now.
How many episodes is that?
6.
Okay, it's not too bad watching.
Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's just like
cutting
berries. Relaxing.
Yeah, because it's just relaxing. You don't have to think too hard when you watch things like that.
It's my cup of tea. It's all about kind of like entertaining and very domesticated life.
Yeah,
I'm all about that. All about that.
It's funny what people watch to relax.
Yeah, it's like there's 2 types of people in this world. Like my husband who like can happily watch the most horrific, violent and scary stuff, or those who need to relax to watch something that has zero stimulation. I'm much more your kind of whole food Meghan Markle kind of making your own kind of sun tea where she puts like dried things, then you put the water out in the sunshine to let the sun make the tea. Like that's so me.
That is so you. I love it. I love it. That's how Chantelle gets a tea, and I get like those dirty boba teas. And I love them. I love all those tapioca pearls that have been sitting in a bag. And they're like reheated. But we work together. I know. That's them. I always get one on my birthday. Yeah, that's my treat.
But yeah, I still really am tempted to put in like proper kind of raised garden beds.
And then that would be beautiful.
Yeah, right. And you know, step into my full. Yeah, I would have full 100%. Veggies.
Yeah. I had a friend who used to sing to her veggie patch.
I see that in my future.
I was like, oh my gosh, that is your future. As those words came out of my mouth, you'll be singing
Here
to
is
your
me hugging the rosemary tree. Hello, little carrots. Aren't you cute?
That's going to be the intro to our next promo.
Homesteading with Chantelle and Michelle. Now how to make preserves with Chantelle.
I'm so excited.
Your homesteading podcast.
I think that's going to be like our next like personal evolution. Like you're gonna have your veggie garden. I'm going to be making my jams. I'll let you know how I go with churning my own butter.
The day
It's all right. I laughed because it was so unrealistic.
All right,
let's go. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Your Studio podcast. It is Michelle Hunter here with my work wifey, Chantelle Bruinsma. And we're dropping in today to speak about a really interesting question and topic when, as a studio owner, things may be going swimmingly great and it's knowing when it's the right time to grow. Isn't it, Chantelle?
Yeah, this is probably a bit more of an advanced question, but it's good to have this stuff rolling around the back of your mind when you need it one day, right?
Yeah,
we have a lot
sure.
of kind of people who graduate from Studio Evolution, our 2-year course, and their studios are rock solid. And their retention's great, their team's amazing, their classes are pretty full, and they're now kind of turning their attention to, okay, well, what's next? What am I going to do next? And maybe you're someone who, like me, had always dreamed of having multiple locations for their studio. When I started my studio Born to Perform, I started with one location that floundered for years, and then I kind of cracked the code, and then it was quite easy to add on additional locations after that. And I was planning to grow to 24 locations was what I had mapped out in my head. I got to 6 before I sold the studio because I got an opportunity to move to India, blah, 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 story for another podcast day, right? But the key for me was if you get a very successful prototype, you just duplicate it. You just replicate that prototype again and again and again. I knew how the marketing to dial it in. I knew how to get the team. I knew how to get the experience kind of working very well. So growing from 1 to 2 locations was actually the hardest. Going from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, that was a hell of a lot easier. But the most difficult stage to kind of navigate is going from having 1 location to 2 locations.
Which, that could sound wild to a lot of people because 6 locations is a lot. Like, what? First, hang on. Why'd you have 24 in your mind? When did that 24 number come from? Was it like an impact thing?
No, it was because there was a business in the UK that I was fascinated by. Yep. And they had dozens and dozens of locations all around the UK. And I had been really exploring how they did what they did and followed their marketing. And I kind of was very curious. Like, I saw the success of that model and I thought that's smart and it's not being done here. And so I kind of was like modifying their approach to kind of really fit in my philosophies and processes. But I knew that we could probably get 24, and I'd kind of done the numbers on revenue and size of team. And there's so much efficiency. Like when you've got, 6 locations, 24 locations, you're still having a centralized admin, right? You're still having everything come back to one. There's one team, core team, who manages all of the enrollments, all marketing, all kind of HR for team. Like that's all centralized. Like it's actually not that much work. And the cool thing about when you grow is that the team at the first location is kind of your breeding ground to then open the second location. And then the team you've got at the second location, then you're picking the kind of the star players to go open another location. So it is this natural kind of feeding. If you get a really good team, then you're just wanting to create more opportunities for them. So I think that was why. I mean, I don't know why that number, but it was just, I wanted it to be significantly large.
So I can see how you say when the biggest or the hardest jump was going from one location to the second and then so on. But let's get to like what's behind wanting to open another location.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the first thing is your kind of personal drive and ambition. Like if you're someone who's got big dreams and you know that you really want to be this type of entrepreneur who is, has got a lot of drive and ambition, that's going to be spurring you to look for opportunities. And maybe you've seen a studio close in another suburb, or maybe you've got a team member who's moving. They've been like a heart of your studio, like, oh, maybe I could just, usually it's like opportunity based of you see a gap, there's kind of a gap in the market that you're aware of. And you're like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of that. Maybe you've yourself moved and you're kind of looking to have a location that's closer to home. Maybe as also I know for other clients, there's been like a big housing development happen in the area. They wanted to get in the ground early on.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing is like these opportunities come up. And what I see happen is that they take advantage of their opportunity, but studio number 1, their kind of home core-based studio isn't quite ready. You know what I mean, Michelle? Like they're kind of, there's things that aren't quite consolidated yet. And that's where things start to get a bit complicated.
Yeah, okay. So, and that's really, it's just normal thinking. Like if you go to expand anything, you want to ensure that the core is strong and that the foundations are set before you build a second story on a house, right?
I mean, what a metaphor. Yes.
Yeah. Like before you go up, you've got to make sure that the foundation is strong. What are some of the markers then that we should probably be seeing within studio business that shows that you're ready for more locations? Like we know that there's opportunity, but what are the markers that we know that we're ready to go into it?
Honestly, It's the biggest one is team, like hands down team, because what's going to happen is that in my case, and also what I've kind of observed from a lot of other studio owners, like when you're opening a second location, usually to get this second prototype working, you're going to take some of your energy and put it over here.
Yeah,
and so if the studio number one has been largely running over your connections and your involvement and your kind of firefighting, or kind of you're observing things going on and picking them up, and you're kind of being there really supporting and holding the hands of your team members, and you stop doing that and you put it over there, then suddenly studio one's like, wheels fall off. Wheels fall off. And that's the biggest mistake. So it all comes down to the team and systems. Can your first location really run like clockwork? Do you have a very stable, devoted team? Do you have systems that really are supporting the team to know exactly how to do this? Because this is all about culture, if you think about it from that perspective. Like, your job is to make sure the culture of Studio One is self-sustaining. Can that first studio continue to deliver the experience day in, day out, week after week, for every single student, every single class? Can you, like, could you go away for a month with a bit of prep and a bit of handover for sure, but could the studio really run effectively? If you can do that, that's a really damn good indicator to let you know that you're ready for a second location. So I think what I'm saying, Michelle, is this is my permission slip for you to book a month's holiday to seek evidence.
I was like, that is the perfect project. If you're listening and considering, book a 4 to 6 week holiday with a handover to your team and see if they can do it. And that is really telling. It's funny. A lot of members in our evolution program, when they've had babies or they've gone on holidays, that's pretty much been the precursor to them for more expansion, because they know their team is rock solid.
It's the best way to give you the confidence of whether you're ready or not. I love it. So, I mean, it is seeking to see, do I have retention, stability? If we're kind of pure numbers, if you're kind of looking for that, Michelle, like in terms of capacity, I'd be wanting your studio to be at 80% capacity minimum before we kind of look for another location. I don't need you to be at 100%. I think you could be kind of really at a solid point. At 80% capacity, and that means like of all your time, if you looked at all your timetables, or your timetable, sorry, your entire timetable, and you looked at every class and you took the maximum number of students you could possibly have in every class across your entire timetable, and you took that number and then you select the number of classes taken, that's going to give you a percentage of total capacity. And so I'd want 80% of spots across all of your classes in your entire timetable full, because that's going to give you don't have to work that hard for enrollments. You've got a good baseline. Of course, if you're above that, that's a really good sign. But I don't think you need to get to 100% before you open the next location. I really don't. It's be too hard.
And what about, now this is a whole nother strategy. Okay. Because you're ready. You've seen the markers. You've gone on the holiday. Your team's solid. Your capacity. Like, the whole process of knowing where to put roots in, like where to go, finding that second location. This is a huge consideration.
Yeah, strategically, there's a bunch of different ways we can play this. So there's a few schools of thought that we can talk through. The first one is what I would call the satellite strategy. So the satellite strategy is having close proximity locations. So I'm talking within a 15-minute drive maximum, around that, like less than 15, 20 minutes. You can even have less than that. Now, the benefit of having the satellite strategy, where you have this like central home location and then like not very far for them to go to other locations, the benefit of that is that it's very easy for team. You can have your team members kind of go to different locations without them having to do big commutes. It also means, the other benefit of this is that you can actually kind of have, from a makeup policy or kind of an ease, like, there isn't availability of this class on this day, but there's one just 9 minutes down the road at this studio location, you can go there. Now, that you might be listening to this going like, why would I go 15 minutes away? But here's the other thing that we benefit from. So because you're local businesses, if we have a lot of awareness in a kind of we're going to reach like a threshold of awareness and real dominance, in fact, in the area. And that is worth so much. So being able to think of, like, oh, there's 6 different locations within this kind of 30 kilometers. And what happens is everyone talks, oh, I'm going to this location, I'm going to go this one. And the word of mouth that goes within that vicinity just explodes. And you can really step into a really strong, prominent position if you go down that way.
We've seen a lot of studios, that word that you just used, dominate, using the satellite strategy. Mm-hmm. And at first it's like, what do you mean so many in a close proximity? But it does just what you've said. You're pretty much covering all corners of that region.
Well, you give the convenience of, like, so let's say someone's borderline on between 2 locations, they can choose what's most convenient for them. So you're kind of doubling options for people. So you're eliminating so much of the kind of what can hold people back. Versus we could choose another way, which is we choose, like, maybe there's a big housing development 40 minutes away that's opening up, or an hour. There's a lot more commute for your team that they've got to do. We also can't kind of rely on the word of mouth from that area kind of helping to grow that next location, because there's no connection. Yeah. You've then got to be sourcing team or paying for team commute. And as a studio owner, it's really hard for you to go pop in and out. Yeah. Like for Born to Form, for me, like every location was in 15 minutes of the other one at least. So I could just kind of do a chain. I go 1, I go 2, go 3, go 4. I'd usually get through like 4 locations I could just pop into in a day quite easily, right? And just be there for half an hour, 45 minutes, see it's all going, see you later, on my way. But I probably prefer the satellite studio approach versus kind of opening on another side of the city. It's just, in terms of the word of mouth marketing growth, I've seen it be less effective. And even if you think of online advertising, like ad strategy, you can, again, if they're in one, particular kind of group of postcodes, you can just dominate. Right? Versus if you've got more population, more spread, it's going to cost you more to get the same level of impact had.
You're exactly right. And when we talk about like an ad strategy, so for instance, if you're a bricks and mortar studio and you're running a Facebook ad, you can actually, type in the region and the kilometers or miles of where you're trying to targeting for that studio. If you are opening a studio, like Chantelle said, with the second option, which might be 40 minutes away, you're pretty much having to run 2 sets of ads to target those 2 separate regions, because they would fall under 2 different areas. Yeah.
So you're going to it's going to cost you so much more. Yeah. And the complexity.
Yeah. With the satellites, and word of mouth strategy is one of the strongest marketing tools to this day. And it's cheap if you do it right.
Yeah. I mean, the other way you can kind of look at this is what is successful is if you get to capacity at your home location. Like a lot of our clients they're filled. They've got no more time on the timetable for, like, let's say you've got a really successful Tiny Tots program or introductory program, and you just can't fit any more people in. You might have availability in your older classes, but none at the kind of bottom end of the studio program suite. The other way is to open feeder locations. So you're going to not rent a whole premises, but maybe you can kind of take an hour here at, like, even like Pilates, you do mat classes at a church hall or rent a school hall, or, you're kind of having a little bit more kind of like, so you're taking the brand and again, offering classes in a small distance away, but you're allowing more volume to come into the studio. And then when they're kind of ready to go into the main program, they come to the kind of the home base studio. Yep. That's another incredibly effective strategy that we roll with clients, for sure.
And clients who have done this with Studio Evolution, Chantelle, what's the key for that success? So when they do those feeder programs at the smaller venues that feed into the main studio, what have they done that really makes that successful in regards to the feel? Yeah. Because like if it's the feeder program, they do an incredible job, because when they come to the concerts and stuff, they are all one. Mm-hmm. So what do they do that makes that so successful?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of resistance I work through with clients on this, because they feel like, oh, but they're not going to be at the main studio where it's all painted and there's couches and it looks so beautiful. Like it's like a second-rate experience being in this shoddy little hall, and it's like, You can create experiences in rented spaces beautifully, seamlessly. You can be really systematic. I mean, I never owned a dedicated space. I only ever rented spaces that we would have a day rate for, right? Yeah. Now, you can create that experience wherever you are. And it's just about being a bit creative. Like you have a folding table, you have a lovely tablecloth, you bring out the resources. It can fit in a tub, right? There's the ways to really create that consistency of experience. They're not missing anything. They're not coming for that. Like you can create it through the warmth and the relationship and through the visual elements that you bring out. But it's more about choosing convenient locations, I think, is probably increasingly something I'd be prioritizing. Like, I was having a chat with another client the other day, and she's ready to open, I think she's just signed on a second location, and the importance of, choosing a place where they can come to Pilates, then they can go get a cup of coffee, take away coffee before they go to work. And there's the little grocery shop just up the road. They can just walk up, grab a loaf of bread, grab some milk before they head home. Like that level of convenience is incredibly important. Parking.
It's huge.
I'd be choosing a location based on quality of parking.
Well, I know a lot of gyms as well, like a small boutique fitness. That's like the biggest criteria is parking.
Yeah.
When you have like an adult gym, like I know with a lot of, younger schools and children studios, you can get away with little drop off and pick up when the helpers come out. But like with an adult gym, you need parking. It's so important.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you're going to choose somewhere that's kind of, I would recommend within a small kind of driving distance, but that again retains the feel that you want to create and how you can create that space. Now, but again, this is only successful if you've really got the systems that have created and dialed in the systems that have made venue number one successful. And what a lot of people join Studio Evolution for is that, like, I've got this beautiful studio, it's doing well, but it all relies on me.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you're the kind of secret sauce, the magic glue holding it all together, it's difficult to replicate you. It's really difficult to clone you and to have that magic that you bring. And if what happens then is, so you open location number 2 and you find yourself running like a headless chook between those two, trying to bring the sparkle, bring the energy, bring everything, that's not going to work. So we can't open a second location until you know that location number 1 has that magic delivered by the team. You with me? It's big, huh?
It's big. Look, it's big, but it's, what I love about this, you've been through this whole situation. You've been through this actual exercise before and you know what works.
Well, it's kind of finding the minimal viable number of components, right? How can you deliver the most beautiful student experience every day with the least moving parts? Like that's how this is going to work, and be very prescriptive in this is how we do things. Like when you're growing past one location, you need to be incredibly prescriptive about how we greet things, how we start the beginning of class, how we end classes. What is the process when things go wrong? Your team have to be able to handle the shit as well as deliver the good is the truth.
Completely.
That's how you're going to know that this is going to work. And when you do have multiple locations, there's a few options with the team of how you can structure this. Like sometimes it's really good to keep your best performer, your best team member at your first location. They're the stabilizing, consistent face, and then you take yourself over to number 2. Other way you can do it is you take your best performer from number 1 and you lead them to open number 2, and everyone else stays the same at number 1, and that kind of team member starts growing location number 2. So there's a few different ways to how to structure the team. How I did it for my studios was everyone had to do at least 6 months kind of at a base level, and then after that they could apply for becoming like an assistant leader where they'd have some responsibility, they had some management, kind of they had to do things, but they were still very much teaching, but they had some kind of more duties as well. And after 6 months of being in an assistant position, they could then go to a leadership role. And they had to do 6 months, maybe a bit longer in the leadership role. And then once they'd done 6 months of the leadership role at one venue, they could then go become open up a whole nother location or become an assistant for a brand new location. And so like I had this built-in ascension model. When people were hired, I walked them through, here is the pay progression. So if you do this amount of time as a, kind of a camp leader, and then you go to assistant, and then you move up into a manager role, and that had accompanying pay rates. So everyone knew that this is the path. Like, we're going to grow this studio, and here's how you're going to do it. So everyone was on the same page of what was required and where we were going to go. And I needed them to be able to grow the business. I needed them being aware of, you're responsible for delivering this experience. It's not on me. And if you want to do it successfully, here's where your career can go alongside me.
That is awesome. And what a gift, Chantelle. That's so clear. It's like they know where they're heading, and you kind of get people on the bus with you straight away or not. It's like, yeah, this is great.
And some people were very motivated for that. Like they knew that they were ready to kind of go and open the location. They kind of like, you could just see the trajectory really well. And then I got to the point, so I had a studio manager overseeing everything, so all locations. So lovely Anna. Anna would kind of be across, she kind of handled enrollments and kind of like making sure the team had everything they needed. So I didn't even have that responsibility. So there was even kind of someone who was off. She used to be a venue location manager, and then she kind of got promoted to across the board. And again, like that's the second tap of just everything goes smoothly. Everything is very consistent. It was easy. Like it sounds funny, but it was actually, getting to 6 locations was a hell of a lot easier than when I struggled with 1.
Gee, that like your leadership, it's a wonder. It is an absolute wonder. And if you're a studio owner listening in and wanting to, extend your leadership skills, and you want a rock solid team and to be one day to expand your locations, we would really encourage you to look into our flagship program, Studio Evolution. And that is that terracotta binder right behind Chantelle.
Yes. So this one here, this terracotta binder, is the Evolving Leaders one. But to be honest with you, we need all of those things. We need your profitability, we need your retention, we need your leadership, we need your finances, we need your marketing, we need your systems, everything, just like getting it all locked in. Even if like you're not kind of wanting to grow to multiple locations, even if you want to sell this business, getting all of these systems happening on automation, the marketing happening on automation, getting the retention happening, just flowing, you need to have all those things to be able to demonstrate to a buyer that you're going to get top dollar. So we have a lot of people join our program because they want to grow to multiple locations, but they know right now they are just doing all it themselves. They need more stability. Some people join because they want to sell, they want to transition. And those 2 reasons are like, we're going to lock down the prototype of this business. It's kind of like McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
I think of it like that. Like there is no gray on how you make a cheeseburger around the world. Like there is like, it's like 45 seconds on this side it's cooked for, and then it's flipped over for another 52 seconds. Like it is prescriptive. And getting your business to that place where there's so much hard but prescriptive processes of how we do things. And this is how we get 85% retention. And this is how we achieve 15% pre-tax profit. And this is how we enroll 200 new students every year with the marketing. Like that's the type of thing, when you know that can happen, you can live your life.
Yeah.
It's really great.
You got a beautiful business at the end of it.
You really, really do. So if you're kind of, again, just to sum up, if you're ready to go to another location, the first thing you want to consider is my team and my systems, like really thinking about that. And in Studio Evolution, we can show you a whole deep approach to fundamental scaling of studios that is going to make it easy for you to achieve your dreams and feel such confidence that you can. It's also really cool to be in a community that normalizes success, and that where you've got a dream to kind of go to this amount of locations, like, this is what we're doing. This is where we go, and have people cheering you on and not questioning your capacity or not holding you back from like, do you think you could have 6 locations? Like, bloody hell, you can.
You can. And running a studio does not need to be a labor of love. It's not a badge of honor to suffer. And you can be in a community where we are real on what happens day to day as a studio owner, but the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit when you're surrounded with people who kind of are lifting you higher. That is the truth. So head on over studioevolution.com/apply. You can start Evolution today, and we can get you going and start building this business of your dreams and making the reality of what your business is capable of achieving come true. That's what excites me, actually, Michelle. It's like your business has so much bloody potential, and you know it. Maybe not everyone around you knows it, but you know what this business is capable of achieving. And what I love in seeing in Studio Evolution is actually unlocking. It's like opening the door to what the studio has the potential to become, making it happen. Love it.
Love it.
So good.
Thank you. And thanks, friends, for tuning in for another episode of Your Studio Podcast. We'll catch you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Love what you hear? Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and leave us a review. Interested in working with us and want to find out more about how we can help you? Head to studioevolution.com/start.